Hello and welcome back. As I promised, today we'll see how I've created a test generation agent, a smart tireless QA assistant that essentially acts as a highly efficient software test engineer. This agent gets the story details, writes the gherkin steps, manages the email approval and meeting scheduling, and finally automatically links the new test cases back to the parent story in Jira and notifies the user. Ready to peek under the hood? Let's see how I build it. This is the agent that I built using an N8N platform, and we have already seen in my previous video how we can build our own custom agents. Now, so it starts with the chat trigger, then agent that will generate our tests, sends an email for approval to create test cases, then link them to Jira parent issue, and finally aggregates them and notify end user. Now this switch node you see used to divide your routes, and if in case of rejection, it notifies the user that test case creation approval rejected. I have used Jira tool provided by N8N. You can see numbers of options here you can use as per your requirement. Let's see the tool. So you have to set up your Jira credential. You need your email ID, the Jira domain and API token. So once the credential setup is done, then you can select your action. You can choose the resource for the tool like issues, issue attachments, users, and there is option for custom API calls as well. And then you can select what operation you want to perform, like create, delete, any status change, or any update you want to do. And you can also use custom API calls if in case your action is not listed here. Then select project, then issue type, and then the summary of the issue. You can choose all these fields filled by AI agent itself, but we'll fill this by our node output variables. I've used this Jira tool node to fetch Jira story details and to create test cases based on those details. So now let's see the chat input. This is where we want to provide the input. Then the Jira tool use the get method to get the details from the Jira. And then this is the AI agent which gets inputs from chat node for user prompt, and from the Jira node for the system prompt, which going to create the test case using the link tools. And this is my prompt. You can pause this video and you can copy this prompt. So you have to tell your agent its role and what are the tools agent can use to get the job done. You also need to tell the output format and finally some examples of the output. And I have used Gemini model as the brain of my agent and added memory node to remember the context, and then think tool if in case any extra brain is required to get the job done. And finally, the Google Calendar to schedule the meeting. The agent node output goes to the JSON parser node. This parser turns raw JSON from the AI agent into a readable format with test case titles and gherkin steps. But before moving ahead, let's see parser code. You can pause the video and take a screenshot of this code for your reference. This structured output is further sent for the approval, and once the user approves, it further goes to the switch node. Great. Now, if I zoom at it, you will see 0 and 1. 0 is the true and 1 is false. And let's see, I have set up both the root, what will happen in case of true, and what will happen in case false. Okay, you can add more filters based on your cases. So once the user approves it, again JSON parser comes into the picture. So this time it converts the JSON output in such a way so that it can be consumed by the Jira tool to create test cases. So this Jira create tool node needs some specific fields like summary and description to generate those test cases, and that's why we need to format our input. And if I open this Jira node, you will see I'm using parser output to fill Jira issue summary and description. And then you see this HTTPS node, which will link the test cases to parent story. And why I have used HTTPS node? Because I didn't found any option in Jira tool node for linking test cases. This Jira tool can create multiple test cases. That's why I have used aggregate node to aggregate all the test case IDs and notify the user of the generated test cases by sending email. But if user rejects the approval, that will notify user that test case creation approval rejected. And further, you can loop back any node to your AI agent if in cases you want to allow any feedbacks, like correction of the test cases. Now, let's test this by providing Jira story or feature ID. We will provide our Jira story ID. On receiving that, it will trigger the workflow. The Jira node fetches data, then our AI agent generates test cases using user input and Jira details. Once done, it will provide input to our JSON parser node, which will format the AI response and send them for approval. Once I approve, it will further go ahead to create the test cases using Jira tool node, and it will also link those test cases to our parent issue. Let's wait for the Jira tool node output. Great. Here's the list of new test case IDs. The agent created and linked them in Jira. An email has been sent to user that includes the test case IDs, and a review meeting is scheduled with proper title and agenda. So if you see earlier, there was only one test case linked to the story. Now, if I refresh the page, you will see newly created test cases here as well. And there we go. Our brand new AI agent is ready. It instantly grabs key details from your Jira stories, auto-generates detailed step-by-step test cases, and, once approved, creates and links them right back to the parent story. And it even sends instant notifications. Pretty awesome, right? Massive time savings. We've just automated one of the most repetitive and tedious parts of QA process. That's all for the session. Keep exploring, keep learning, and as always, happy testing.